Hey everyone, welcome to our deep dive into keeping our pets happy and healthy here in Chattanooga. We've got some great insights from a local veterinarian, and I think this will be really interesting for folks in Chattanooga because I know we all love our pets. So we're going to look into some of those unique challenges that folks here in Chattanooga might face, and hopefully by the end of this deep dive, you'll have some tips and tricks and know when it's time to call in, the expert.
Yeah, it's really fascinating how Chattanooga's environment kind of dictates the type of cases I see in my practice. We have those beautiful mountains and trails, but that also means more encounters with wildlife.
Yeah, right. So it's not just the usual vaccinations and checkups, but also those extra risks that come with living in Chattanooga and our active outdoor lifestyle.
Exactly. For example, tick-borne illnesses are really prevalent here. Things like Lyme disease and ehrlichiosis. Chattanooga's warm and humid climate makes it ideal for ticks to thrive.
Okay, so I'm guessing tick prevention is a must for any pet owner in Chattanooga,
Yeah.
even for indoor cats.
You're absolutely right. Even indoor cats can get ticks if they, venture out onto balconies or screen porches. So a good preventative medication is really crucial year round.
Makes sense. And are there any specific tick-borne illnesses that are particularly common here in Chattanooga?
Well, one that comes to mind is Rocky Mountain spotted fever. It's a serious bacterial infection that can actually affect both dogs and humans. So early detection is key. If you notice any unusual symptoms like fever, lethargy, or rash, it's important to contact your vet right away.
Wow, I had no idea it could affect humans too. That's a good reminder to be vigilant, not just for our pets, but for ourselves as well. So aside from ticks, what other unique challenges do you see in your practice here?
Another big one is heat stroke. Chattanooga summers can be brutal, and a lot of pet owners don't realize how quickly a dog can overheat, especially brachycephalic breeds like bulldogs and pugs.
Oh, right, those flat-faced breeds. I can imagine them struggling in the heat.
Exactly. Their short snouts make it harder for them to pant effectively, which is how dogs regulate their body temperature.
So what can owners do to prevent heat stroke?
First and foremost, avoid strenuous activity during the hottest parts of the day. Always make sure your pet has access to shade and plenty of fresh water. And if you're out on a walk, consider bringing a collapsible water bowl and offering frequent breaks.
Good advice.
Yeah.
And what about signs of heat stroke? What should we be looking out for?
Excessive panting, drooling, lethargy, stumbling, and red gums are all red flags. If you notice any of these signs, it's critical to cool your pet down immediately and seek veterinary care. Don't hesitate to call your vet for guidance. It's always better to be safe than sorry.
That's a good point. Sometimes it's hard to know when something's truly an emergency.
You're right. And that's why building a relationship with your vet is so important. They can help you assess the situations and guide you on the best course of action.
Speaking of relationships, I've noticed that some sources emphasize the importance of finding a vet who's a good fit for you and your pet.
Absolutely. Just like finding a good doctor for yourself, you want a veterinarian who you feel comfortable with, who communicates clearly, and who you trust to make the best decisions for your furry friend.
So it's not just about credentials and experience, but also about that personal connection.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask questions and shop around until you find a vet who feels right for you. It's a partnership after all.
And a long-term one at that, hopefully.
You got it. And speaking of long term, let's talk about those preventative care measures that can help keep your pet healthy for years to come.
Okay, so we've covered some of the Chattanooga-specific challenges, like ticks and heat stroke. What about the more general preventative care that's important for all pets, regardless of location?
Well, vaccinations are always at the top of the list. They protect your pet from a wide range of potentially deadly diseases.
Right, those core vaccines like rabies and distemper. Are there any specific vaccination considerations for Chattanooga?
Yes, actually, we do recommend the leptospirosis vaccine here, as it's a bacterial disease spread through the urine of infected animals. And we have a lot of wildlife in the area.
Oh, that's interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that. So even if my dog is mostly a homebody, there's still a risk.
There's always a chance, especially if they spend any time outdoors, even just in the backyard. Wildlife can easily access those areas.
Okay, good to know. So vaccinations are essential. And you mentioned building a strong relationship with your vet. What else falls under this preventative care umbrella?
Well, alongside vaccinations, parasite prevention is crucial.
Hmm.
We've already talked about ticks, but fleas, heartworms, and intestinal parasites are also common concerns in Chattanooga.
I've heard some pet owners say they only worry about fleas during certain seasons. Is that a misconception?
It is. While flea populations might peak during warmer months, they can survive year-round in our climate. So consistent flea prevention is key.
So even during those mild Chattanooga winters, we shouldn't let our guard down.
Exactly. And heartworm prevention is even more critical. Heartworms are transmitted through mosquito bites, and mosquitoes can be active for a good chunk of the year here.
Wow. I hadn't considered that mosquitoes are a factor even for indoor pets.
They can definitely sneak inside. That's why year-round heartworm prevention is non-negotiable regardless of your pet's lifestyle.
Okay, so ticks, fleas, and heartworms, all year-round prevention.
Ah.
Got it.
Yeah.
What about those intestinal parasites? How do those usually spread?
Intestinal parasites can be spread through contaminated soil feces or even contact with infected animals. Puppies and kittens are especially susceptible as they often explore the world with their mouths.
Makes sense. So
Yeah.
regular deworming is important, especially for younger pets.
Absolutely. And even adult pets should have regular fecal exams to check for parasites, as they can be reinfected throughout their lives.
So even if we're diligent with preventative measures, those checkups are still important for catching anything that might slip through the cracks.
Exactly. And speaking of those checkups, let's talk about dental care. Dental disease is one of the most common health problems we see in pets, and it can have serious consequences if left untreated.
That's interesting. I think a lot of pet owners, myself included, might not realize how important dental care is for their furry friends.
It's often overlooked, but just like in humans, plaque and tartar can build up on a pet's teeth, leading to gingivitis, periodontal disease, and even tooth loss.
Wow, I never thought about my dog losing teeth. So how can we prevent that?
Brushing your pet's teeth regularly is the best way to prevent dental disease. There are special toothbrushes and toothpaste formulated for pets.
I'll admit I've tried brushing my cat's teeth, and it wasn't a fun experience for either of us.
I hear you, it can be tricky, but there are other options like dental chews and treats that can help reduce plaque and tartar buildup.
Okay, so brushing is ideal, but those chews and treats can be helpful too.
Yeah.
And what about professional dental cleanings? Are those necessary?
They are. Even with diligent home care, most pets will eventually need a professional cleaning under anesthesia. This allows us to thoroughly clean the teeth, remove plaque and tartar below the gum line, and address any existing dental problems.
So it's kind of like going to the dentist ourselves. We brush at home, but we still need those professional cleanings.
Exactly. And just like those regular dental visits, annual wellness exams are crucial for catching potential health problems early on.
Right, we touched on that earlier. Those checkups are about more than just vaccinations, right?
Absolutely. During those exams, we'll check your pet's overall health. Listen to their heart and lungs, feel their abdomen, check their ears and eyes, and discuss any concerns you might have.
So it's a chance to get a full picture of your pet's health and address any issues before they become serious problems.
Exactly. Early detection is key to successful treatment and a longer, healthier life for your pet. And as pets age, those annual exams become even more important.
That makes sense. Senior pets tend to be more prone to certain health conditions.
Right. Things like arthritis, kidney disease, and cognitive decline become more common as pets get older.
So those regular checkups can help us catch those age-related issues early on and manage them effectively.
Exactly. And we can also discuss lifestyle adjustments like diet changes or joint supplements to help keep your senior pet comfortable and happy in their golden years.
You know, we've covered a lot of ground here. Ticks, heat stroke vaccinations, parasite prevention, dental care, and those all-important wellness exams.
And we haven't even touched on things like nutrition behavior and exercise.
Right. It's clear that there's a lot more to pet care than meets the eye.
Absolutely. But don't feel overwhelmed. The key takeaway here is to find a veterinarian you trust and partner with them to create a personalized care plan for your pet.
That's a great point. It's about finding that trusted advisor who can guide you through all the nuances of pet care in Chattanooga.
Exactly. And remember, we're here to help you every step of the way.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Chattanooga pet care, I think the biggest takeaway for me is that being proactive is key. Don't wait for problems to arise, anticipate them, and work with your vet to keep your pet healthy and happy.
I couldn't agree more. And speaking of proactive care, let's talk about one more important aspect, emergency preparedness.
Oh, right. Emergencies can happen anytime, and it's best to be prepared.
Yeah.
What are some things we can do in advance to handle those unexpected situations?
Well, first and foremost, it's crucial to have a plan in place. Know the location and contact information for the nearest 24-hour emergency veterinary hospital. Keep that information readily accessible, maybe even programmed into your phone.
That's a great tip. In the heat of the moment, I can imagine panicking and not knowing where to go.
Absolutely. It's also a good idea to keep a basic pet first aid kit on hand. You can find pre-made kits, or you can assemble your own with essentials like gauze, bandages, antiseptic wipes, and a pet thermometer.
I've never thought about a pet thermometer. Is that really necessary?
It can be helpful in assessing your pet's condition. A high fever can indicate a serious infection.
Okay, so a first aid kit, emergency contact info, and what else should we consider?
Knowing how to perform basic pet CPR can be invaluable in an emergency. There are many resources available online and through local organizations that offer pet CPR classes.
Wow, it's a skill I hope I never have to use, but it definitely seems worthwhile to learn.
I agree. And one last thing to consider is pet insurance. It can help cover those unexpected veterinary expenses, which can quickly add up in an emergency situation.
That's a good point. Vet bills can be pretty daunting, so having that safety net of pet insurance can definitely provide some peace of mind.
Exactly, and it allows you to focus on what's most important, your pet's health and well-being.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Chattanooga pet care, what's the one message you want to leave our listener with today?
It's simple. Be proactive, build a strong relationship with your veterinarian, and empower yourself with knowledge.
And with those three things, our furry friends in Chattanooga can thrive. Well, I think we've covered a lot of important ground today. From those Chattanooga-specific challenges like ticks and heat stroke to those essential preventative care measures and even emergency preparedness, we've really explored the world of pet care in the scenic city.
And I hope our listeners feel empowered to be a proactive and informed pet parent.
Me too. And remember, if you have any lingering questions or want to delve deeper into these topics, we've included links to some helpful resources in the show notes. So go ahead, explore those, and continue your journey towards becoming the best pet parent you can be.
Until next time, keep those tails wagging and those whiskers twitching.
And remember, the happiest pets are the healthy ones.